Hey, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai by Shem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostle of this great millstone. Peace and blessings to you, brothers, pushing his truth throughout the four winds. Just meditating and reading. I was inspired to do this video basically going into the mind frame of understanding the strength of Yahweh Shem Shai, understanding the power, understanding that everything you go through, the Lord walks with us. It really is a thing to where we should be more in a mental space, spiritual space, Salakia. Being in a very spiritual place, and seeing things through spiritual lenses. It's most people, they'll walk this walk, and when you physically see things, it's physical, so you're going to believe it because you can see it and feel it. It's the things we can't see that brings a light to everything. As the book of Ephesians says, even battle spiritual wickedness in high places. So if it's spiritual wickedness in high places, that means it's spiritual blessings in high places. So everything has to be seen from a spiritual perspective from true men who follow Yahweh Shem Shai. And sometimes, let's be honest, that's not the easiest thing to do when you look and you seeing things a certain way, because you can physically see it. So your body and mind is going to basically in these chambers of darkness as well. So to be looking and seeing things, that's when you transition your mind. That's why praying and fasting and getting lost in Yahweh Shem Shai is very important. Because you can only imagine how stronger these things are going to get when all hell breaks loose. And the grid is down, and you're just going through all these things that you're going to be forced, to trust in Yahweh Shem Shai. It's not going to be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's why we have to be in that mind space right now, This is Joshua 1:9. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy power is with thee whithersoever thou goest. So, understanding spiritual things, that the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, it's with everyone. If someone does something wicked, that was it was a wicked spirit, but the Lord sent that spirit. So because every spirit that comes upon people was sent from Yahweh Shem Shai. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that the Lord controls everything. Okay? Isaiah 41:10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Salakia. So that's what we have to understand, man, that the Lord is always going to be with his men, no matter what. So when we have those times of seeing things, that's when we pray the Lord keep that spirit on us to comfort us, and have us in the space of knowing it's going to be okay, because the scriptures tell us that. Okay? 2 Corinthians 12:9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Hamashiach may rest upon me. So even in your low moments, You know, even in the low moments, that's when the spirit kicks in even harder. You know, so it's a balance. That spirit is going to pull you right back up to where you're supposed to be. So the Lord is always there. You know, we just live in these chambers of darkness, and the way the mind works is the mind tends to lean towards anything negative. You know, I read a quote where it said, when you're dealing with something, your mind will have 99% of it thinking that everything is worse. The word at its worst. You know, but the whole time it's that 1% where that 99% should actually be. It's not even as bad as we make it most of the times. You know, but our mind and these chambers of darkness that just tend to be always geared towards the worst that could happen. You know, Psalms 46:1, to the chief musician for the sons of Korah, a song of Almath. The Most High is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. So he's a strong and mighty tower as well, that the righteous run in and are safe. So the Lord is always refuge. You know, these words, they mean something, because the evils that come upon or maybe approaching us that we can't see, it's a spirit there to block that. You know, it's a spirit there to counter it. You know, it's kind of like understanding the balance of everything. You know, the Spirit of the Lord, it balances everything. You're gonna, you know, it's gonna rain on the just and the unjust, but sometimes you're going through something and it's not as worse as you think. You know, that's when like you'll have those spirits play on your mind, attack your mind to where you think that something is worse, or this situation is really worse than what it really is. You know, and sometimes it could be. But the thing is, the Lord always balances it out to where it plays out all the time the way it's supposed to. You know, it's always the result that we mainly be afraid of, like the end of whatever it is we're going through. You know, so we have to really be in a space, in a mind frame of locking these things in to where we understand that the Lord is fighting this battle for us. Okay, Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and of a good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them, for the Lord thy power, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Like, what more reassurance could you actually ask for than the creator of everything fighting your battle for you? Okay? Fighting your battle for you. Wisdom of Solomon 8:7, it says, and if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtuous. For she teaches temperance and prudence, justice and fortitude, which are such things as men can have nothing more profitable in their life. So those things were temperance, prudence, justice, and fortitude. These are all characteristics. You know, those are spirits. You know, so that spirit, those spirits that have you the way that you are, it's all from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, a lot of characteristics of certain people, you'll just look at me like, man, that's a solid person. Like, he really ain't nobody to be messing with, bro. You know what I'm saying? Those are spirits. So, like it says, you'll know them by their fruit. So whatever spirit's on this person, that's just the way he's going to be. Or she's going to be. Okay, this is 2 Maccabees 15:7. But Maccabeus had ever sure confidence that the Lord would help him. Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, and now to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty. So that's called faith being built. So if you go through something and you trust in the Lord, let's say you go through it and you kind of like try to deal with it on your own, and then that doesn't work, to where now you start praying and that works. So the next time you go into something, the first thing you're going to do now is going to remember, I went through this last time and I tried to handle it on my own, but now let me have faith in the Lord. So those tests and everything that comes, that spirit comes over you, you're going to start trusting in the Lord from the jump. Okay. With that, I pray this was edifying. I want to say shalom.